Established in 2007, the African Regional Organization of the International Trade Union Confederation, Ituc-Africa, has committed itself to the mission of strengthening African trade unions. The aim is to empower all African workers to speak with one voice, ensuring a healthy and safe work environment and enabling everyone to live with dignity. Following the Ordinary Delegates Congress held in Abuja, Nigeria in 2019, Ituc-Africa renewed its commitment to playing a crucial role in defending workers' rights and social justice on the continent.
Very early in the quadrennial, COVID-19 struck, as many of you are aware. And therefore, the first part of 2020 was used by Ituc-Africa in trying to coordinate and to develop trade union responses to this pandemic. In fact, the pandemic broke out barely after we had finished developing the strategic plan from the resolutions of Congress. So for about 3 months after that, we're simply occupied with trying to coordinate union responses around Africa, trying to find out how our unions, together with governments, were responding to the enormous challenges that have been thrown up by the pandemic. We also did a lot of intervention, even with the African Union, in trying to encourage the union to stand up for the entire continent. We then redrew our attention back to the specific mandates from Congress, which related to a number of program areas that we have been involved with. And we are talking here about human and trade union rights, about peace and security, on which we took a specific mandate from Congress, on migration of Africans, both inside the continent and outside it. We paid attention also to occupational safety and health. But beyond these, there were also activities relating to social protection, on equality, on climate change and climate action, on organizing and trade union unity. And with organizing and trade union unity, we paid attention also to the question of youth and how to get the youth more actively involved in our unions, as well as youth employability, namely the question of skills development for young people that prepares them for the labor market. And beyond all these array of areas, we then paid attention to the question of economic and social policy intervention, especially as it relates to structural transformation of Africa. And here we paid particular attention to questions of trade and investment, questions of debt, rising debt for Africa and how to deal with it, questions of illicit financial flows out of Africa, and also the important question of fair taxation. So all these areas have occupied us during this quadrennial, and the range of activities that we undertook are what are contained in the activity report that has been submitted to Congress.
Section 1. Human and Labor Rights.
First, I will speak with respect to the mandate from the Congress in terms of the issues we are asked to deal with. Peace and security was one. It was hot on the agenda, and I think as we see now, it's still a very big issue. With respect to our work on human and trade union rights, at least for now, we see more affiliates who are better knowledgeable. When we go where we see improvement in reporting, we want it to be better.
Section 2. Peace and Security. Peace and security are essential for the well-being of workers.
And as Ituc-Africa, we have been very vigilant, of course with the support of affiliates, to monitor all these infractions happening at national level, and also we have been very swift to respond, offering solidarity messages of support to the affiliates, at times engaging the authorities, the government.
Section 3. Migration. Migration is a reality in Africa. We have worked to protect the rights of migrant workers and facilitate their integration into host countries. Section 4. Organization and Empowerment of Workers. The priorities of the strategic plan envises strengthening African trade union organizations, unionization, and the recruitment of new members. The implementation of this strategic plan priority focuses on awareness and unionization, internal democracy, capacity building, and the freedom of action of workers, as well as trade union unity.
Nous avons essayé de redéployer et de tirer tous les avantages que le contexte de la COVID-19 nous a permis de pouvoir explorer. Nous avons pu également obtenir des résultats tangibles et notables à travers l'exploitation des réseaux sociaux, à savoir WhatsApp, des groupes que nous avons créés pour pouvoir répondre de façon particulière aux préoccupations des uns et des autres à distance.
Section 5. Trade Union Unity.
De toutes les 4 valeurs cardinales que sont l'unité, la solidarité, l'indépendance et la démocratie, je crois que l'unité est ce qui justifie déjà aux acquis des 8 heures de travail obtenus après le décès de certains camarades après maintes luttes à Chicago. Ça a été obtenu sur la base d'unité.
Section 6. Empowerment of Youth and Promotion of Youth Employability. The strategic plan reaffirms the need to place young workers, their education, and future employment at the heart of trade union policies to counter the negative effects of the global economic crisis.
Les différentes activités de renforcement de capacité que nous avons eu à mener avec le soutien de nos organisations partenaires ont permis de pouvoir autonomiser en quelque sorte les jeunes, et de plus en plus de jeunes ont pris eux-mêmes le devant de la scène en mettant en œuvre des actions innovantes au bénéfice de leurs organisations.
Section 7. Promotion of Gender Equality. Efforts made by Ituc-Africa to promote equality within the trade union movement have been enormous over the past 4 years. In a context where discrimination and the lack of respect of the right to work persist, women continue to find themselves in increasingly challenging situations.
Et de manière spécifique, la position ou la promotion des femmes au poste de décision, nous avons également connu des succès dans ce domaine. Vous pouvez constater qu'aujourd'hui, on a au moins une 14aine d'organisations nationales qui sont dirigées par des femmes, où nous avons des femmes, soit elles sont secrétaires générales, soit elles sont présidentes des organisations syndicales.
Section 8. Health and Safety at Work. Ituc-Africa decided to promote for all workplace safety and health. This idea was consolidated by the arrival of COVID-19 in 2020, which significantly affected workers worldwide and even more so in Africa.
We realized that not all our affiliates are actively engaged on occupational health and safety issues. And so the ones that have been working on safety and work and health at the workplace have been the ones who are part of the network. There has been some work taking place at various levels. At national level, we have several affiliates that have been engaged at national level in different ways. At regional level.
Section 9. Extension of Social Protection.
Depuis le dernier congrès d'Abuja, nous sommes partis avec une feuille de route qui met vraiment l'accent sur la promotion de la protection sociale comme un droit pour tous et son extension pour tous. Donc, et également de travailler sur des axes qui permettront donc aux leaders syndicaux de faire des plaidoyers pour un financement de la protection sociale.
Section 10. Economic and Social Policy, Structural Transformation for Africa's Development. Ituc-Africa actively participated in discussions on economic policies aimed at promoting sustainable development in Africa.
Au niveau de l'Institut de la CSI-Afrique, nous avons réalisé les activités en lien avec les réseaux de recherche, en lien avec l'éducation et la formation ouvrière, en lien avec le renforcement des capacités au niveau des réseaux de recherche. Donc, toutes ces recherches ont été conduites par des affiliés de la CSI-Afrique soutenus par l'Institut. Mais en dehors de ces activités de recherche, nous avons aussi organisé au niveau de la CSI-Afrique des suivis de projets.
Section 11. Climate Change.
Now, speaking specifically about climate change, we also know that there has been a lot of developments when we talk about, or when we look at the news in recent years. We had a lot of news on how the climate is changing the world over, but specifically in our continent. And we saw different impacts in different parts of the region. And very recently, we take the crisis that we saw in Malawi, for instance. This quadrennial actually brought to bear the importance of why we should engage, not only as trade unions, but take up the climate crisis very seriously as a people.
Section 12. The Research Institute.
Il faut reconnaître que les questions économiques en lien direct avec le commerce sont un peu complexes et qu'il faut vraiment une expertise pour comprendre le phénomène, l'analyser et apporter les solutions appropriées. C'est pour cette raison que la sensibilisation, l'information est importante au niveau des organisations de travailleurs.
In the future, Ituc-Africa aims to consolidate the achievements obtained in previous programs and workshops, pay even more attention to workers' protection, and work on expanding trade union leadership through awareness campaigns.